Good morning, everybody. This is Yin Yang with Morsels of a Thought number 1197, broadcasting from California with English subtitles. I'm joking. I speak English mostly. I speak English only. No, I speak English and I speak several other languages. Today is my mama's birthday, so my Friday focus will be happy birthday, Marlene Yang. Now, Marlene Yang was a Quinchu artist, which means that she was a performer in the art of Quinchu opera. There are two forms of Chinese opera in my family. One is the Beijing opera, which will be what you see here. If you go over to, I'll tell you later how to get to this video in the background. Um, and then there's another form of opera where there is a flute in the music, which is a lower octave than the Beijing opera. In Quinchu, there are four specialties. One is martial arts, one is singing, the music, one is dancing, and one is the literature. The literature is of the literati. Hold on a second while I remove a fire hazard. My mirror has a lamp on it. I don't like to keep that on, so I turn it off. So there are four specialties, and my mother was able to work in, I suppose, all of them. The martial arts, she was able to 耍剑, work with swords, not real swords, stage swords. And she was able to sing the music, and she was of the literati, and she was able to perform the dancing. The dancing is very prescripted. Even where your eyes look during the show, during the aria, is prescripted. So you have to look where you are supposed to look. So no matter what happens downstage, you would naturally not be able to see it, even though you were right there. You might even be facing the audience, but if your eyes are supposed to be facing over there, that's where your eyes are going to look like they're looking. And you only will see anything off stage peripherally. So that's a little short summary of what my mother loved to do. She sang from the time she was a small child. Her mother passed when she was 7 years old, so all she had for company were the Chinese opera records. In those days, they used phonographs and played these on records. Now, what I'm showing you in the back behind me is a man waving a symbolic ocean, a flag, a pennant, I suppose, a large pennant, and he is waving it underneath the person that is doing a backflip right there. So I can show you. Okay, this person here is doing a backflip, and that person back there is waving the pennant. And there is another person doing another forward flip. So you see this artistic, this is all martial arts here. It's all combined, and it's a very interesting art. UNESCO pronounced it one of the most intangible assets to humanity, and so it's been recognized by UNESCO since 1999 or 2000, something like that. My mother was instrumental in getting the Bay Area of San Francisco interested for the Chinese American community in the Bay Area of San Francisco to come and watch the performances that were made by my mother, who's an amateur, alongside the first, they call it the first class actors in China, the people that have won the Plum Blossom Award. It's called the Plum Blossom Award, and it's like our Academy Award, except that the country is bigger. So I assume there's more competition for that. And the people that came were the ones that were able to beat out the competition in the entire nation of China. So you would think they were really good, and they were. I got to meet one of them. I got to meet more than one of them. I got to meet the makeup artist who did my face once, and the two first class actors that came. Um, they were able to perform and sing. I don't remember what they said about the martial arts that they would learn, but probably they would know. And Beijing opera, you may have heard it before. It's a higher pitched music. It has the huqing. The huqing is the great 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 grandfather, the original violin. The huqing is played uh, upright and down slanted with two strings and one bow. The horsehair bow goes between the strings, so the instrument is forever attached to the bow. Uh, and one side of the cylinder, it's a long cylinder, and one side of the cylinder is covered with snakeskin, and that is where the vibrations come. The other end is hollow, and that is the beginning of our violin. The way you can see it is if you go to the Middle East. If you go to the Middle East, they have an instrument that plays on the same vertical axis, but it has four strings. It has four strings, and it's made of wood, and the wood is enclosed, but the front has the two F holes. So they play it like this. And then you go to Europe, and you see that they have put it on their shoulder and their chin to play a violin. So you would see the development of an instrument coming all the way from China, and it goes the other way around too. There is something called the yangqing. Yangqing means foreign instrument, and it looks to me like the predecessor of a melodeon or a piano. So you get all kinds of history if you look in all kinds of corners of the world. So my mother introduced this to the amateur population in San Francisco. She had performed Quincy in Taiwan before she came here. She studied under Xu Yanzhi. Xu Yanzhi is the flout master, the flautist of Taiwan, and he was the Quincy flautist of Taiwan that had come from the mainland. So there's a lot. There's a lot of history. I may have just jumped into the details and not given you an overview, and I'm not sure where my overview should be right now. So I'm sorry if I've lost you in details. But the opera is where they have these long whips. A horse whip looks like a stick with a few tassels on it, and they carry it around and they wave it like this to symbolize that they are riding the horse. And then they take it down, and then they are hanging the whip from their wrist to show that they are leading the horse. They're walking on the ground now. But then when they change it around and then they do this, that means they have mounted the horse and they are riding. So you would see that. And you would also see the Immortals using something similar, except that since it's a fairy whip, the end of it has a horsehair tassel, gigantic tassel, I guess you call it. I want to call it a bun, but it's horsehair, and they wave it around. It's white on the ends, and the tassels on the stick are still there. It's a shorter stick, of course, because these are clouds. Okay, so they're on the clouds, and they're riding, and when they're playing with that, it means that they are on the clouds, whooshing around. They are sitting on a cloud, whooshing around. Those are the immortal spirits. Now, Chinese mythology has the fact that if you are 500 years old, you can attain immortality. And when you are 1,000 years old, you're more powerful than when you were 500 years old. And my mother performed the part of a white snake. The story of the white snake, I'll go into it very briefly. It is where a snake, when it's a baby, is saved by a mortal man from being tortured by a bunch of people that are just gangsters playing with the snake. He buys it from them, saves it, and sets it free. Now, this snake is a little white snake. The snake grows to be 500 years old. She tracks that human's reincarnation. So, mythology in China includes reincarnation. She comes and watches his reincarnation for every single generation until she reaches immortality and can take on human form. The magic is that she can take on human form. So she marries him. And then there is an evildoer who comes along. He wants to cause trouble. So he goes and tells the husband, she's going to kill you. She's a snake. Well, that's not true. She's not. She loves him. She's great. She has gratitude for him for his saving her life when she was a small, real, mortal snake. Along the way before this, she has met the green snake, who is less powerful than her. She's been 1,000 years old. The other snake is 500. 500. It's a male green snake, and he wants to marry her. Well, she beats him in a fight and says, no, you can be my servant, but you have to be female. So he takes on female form. The green snake takes on female form. And they travel together everywhere. Okay, so the white snake has now married this mortal man. She's now pregnant. So then there is a monk that lies and says that the snake will kill him, and he gives the husband doesn't believe it, so he gives the husband a couple of cups of wine, a bottle of wine, and says, you give her this elixir and she'll return to her original form of a snake. Well, it turns out to be true that she is a snake. He discovers it and he dies of fright. Dies. Okay. So reincarnation and revival, the snake goes to the mountain where they have these immortal flowers that will raise the dead. So she goes, fights, gets it, goes home, raises the dead. Her husband is now alive. But now he's afraid of her. So he runs away and goes to the evil guy and hangs out with him. So then there's a big fight. The fight is where the white snake and the green snake go together. Actually, the green snake wanted to kill the guy too. So she said, you mistreated my mistress, and wants to kill the guy. So they have to fight again. The snakes have to fight again for the white snake to tell the green snake not to kill her husband. So they go. Actually, the white snake goes first because the green snake disagrees with her about the husband. So the white snake goes first, gets into battle. She's pregnant. She's having trouble. The green snake comes along and says, okay, I'll help you, and comes along. And the two of them fight, and then they raise an army. Their army is from the sea. All the creatures all the crawling creatures of the sea come and fight. So that pennant over there that you see behind me, that represents the ocean. And all of those people are the fighters, the army, the army of Fahai, that monk who sits on a mountain, and of the white snake. So then you'll find out how the battle ends when you go to my Morsels of a Thought audience site, MOAT audience, MOAT audience, and take a look. It's a public group. You can join it if you want. Either way, you can watch the videos that I've placed there. Today, I've placed 2 videos of the white snake story, which are long, and I've put in times of where the fight scenes are, the battle scenes. Those are more interesting to see if you're visually you don't know the Chinese language. You're not going to listen to 3 hours of opera. So just look at the places I have marked, and you'll see the battle scenes. Okay, I will see you later. This was a tribute to my late mom. How old would she have been today? '86. She would have been 86 today. She passed 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So there we are. I'll talk to you later. Okay. Old Kinderhut. Bye bye.